So good to see everyone here tonight. So tonight's topic is level 2 of network care, which is an interesting experience, and most people are typically pretty aware as they're going through level 2, or sometimes people don't tell us what they're going through, and so they're going through what we don't know. And it's not always a pleasant thing, and sometimes it's great. So I just want to go through some of those things so you can really get an idea of what's happening within your body and your system, what's changing as you go through that experience. But basically or the reason that we do this class is when Scott and I are watching people go through the experience of being in network care, we track people who do really well with the care, who really get the strategies, what's happening within their bodies. And then we track people who aren't getting it as well and like what's happening for them. And so what we do then is we compile those pieces of information into workshops so that you really know what you're supposed to be getting out of the care and what's happening with your body as you go through this experience. So what I'm going to do is I'm first going to go through some information about the different levels of network care, what's happening in the different levels of care. And then I'll also be going through the demonstrations. I'm also going to be going through some research. And so really when you think about the spine and when you think about really changing your spine, realize that the shape and the tension and the tone and the actual position of your body is an effect of all the things that have happened to you throughout your life. Meaning what I'm talking about is your biography becomes your biology. The things that have happened to you throughout your life are carried in your body in different patterns and in different ways. And so as we work with your nervous system, what we're really trying to change the function of as you go through this process is your spinal cord, your nerves, and the brain. That's really what we're working with. We're changing how that system communicates with the rest of your body. And that's why people get so many great results as they go through this process. It's why they'll talk about things that they may have experienced 20 years ago all of a sudden have cleared up. Or things that they didn't expect to heal change through this process because we're working with the nervous system. And your brain and your spinal cord are what control everything else in your body. And so there's a lot going on as we really change the way the nervous system works. So your nervous system is like your filter. It's like putting on tinted glasses, meaning your nervous system is what you perceive everything with. So if you think about it, and you can think of it, Scott and I look at this kind of stuff all the time, and when we look at x-rays or we look at tests, but if you think of someone who carries their body like this, if you saw that, what would you think of? If you saw that person, and many of you may not even consciously think about this, but what would be your impression of that person just by looking at them? Tired. That's a good word. More pain. Okay, so when you look at, what the research actually shows is that people who have a spine that's shaped like that are more likely to experience depression and anxiety. So, or if you think of like Charlie Brown and think of his whole demeanor, kind of a depressed person. Well, that's kind of how he described it, is if he stood like this, he could get joy out of being depressed. Well, that's a Charlie Brown kind of a thought process there. But really, if you think of someone who stands and, their spine is very straight, their shoulders are back, how would you perceive that person instead? Confident, yeah. You look at, usually they're going to be a little bit happier. It's going to, literally what the research has shown is that it's easier for that person to experience joy and happiness rather than someone who their spine is stretched, the spinal cord is stretched, their body is hunched forward, their shoulders and their cervical spine don't have the natural curve. They're going to be more likely to experience depression. And what that means is that for every experience that if you think about your life and different situations that you could be in, one person may perceive a situation as being great and joyful and happy, and another person might experience that exact same situation as being really depressing or being sad or causing them to experience anger. So what we're looking at as we go through this process is your nervous system, and literally it affects every different aspect of your life.